Hey guys, it's Josh. I hope you're having a good day. So with FSD beta version 10.11, we got a new lane prediction system. Immediately when I read the release notes, I was a bit shocked by how large of an architectural change that this lane predictor represented. To my knowledge, we haven't seen such a large change in version 10, and I was quite surprised to see a change like that before version 11. So I started testing originally with version 10.3 for reference. So there's 4 areas local to me where map data has been an issue in the past. So I'm going to go over the first one, and then we'll take a look at the release notes, and then we'll look at the other 3. So the first area I've had issues with in the past is this uphill roundabout. You may have seen some of the several videos I've made in the past about this. This has never worked before on any 10.x version, so it was the first place I tested. You'll see that I'll slow the max speed down to 10 miles per hour to give the car a chance, and that's for my own safety. And if you look on the visualization, you see the roundabout's not shown at all. It's because of missing map data.
Oh, yes, yes, yes.
Okay, so a little embarrassing, but you can see how excited I am, and that's because it's never worked before. Okay, and let's try that one more time, this time at 15 miles per hour.
Yes. Ah. Yes.
So again, we've done it successfully. You can see I'm quite excited there. And for reference, here is how the car behaved on version 10.3. This was the first video I made, and you can see it just drove over the roundabout. That was limiting the car to only 5 miles per hour, as you can see here on the in-car. And you can see this is the in-car from the same moment. Okay, and this is going to be another attempt, this time on 10.8, and I tested every version in between as well. So you can see 15 miles per hour, I guess 10, and you see this time the car refuses to go the navigated route and instead turns right. So it was a fail back on 10.8. Okay, I'm not going to go over the release notes directly. I'll leave that up to the viewer, but I did want to highlight this Karpathy tweet, which explains the situation well. Okay, this first tweet is a bit confusing and esoteric. I'll just sum it up and say that they've eliminated a intermediate processing step in lane detection. This is really important because we're actually under severe computation power limits in the car. And he also mentions that it paves the way for predicting many other signals, so that would be like pedestrians, stoplights, etc. And then the final tweet, he mentions the technology they're using to eliminate that intermediate post-processing step. I'll leave a better explanation up to experts in AI and machine learning. In this case, we really just care how it affects the FSD beta system directly. This is the second area I wanted to check out. This is Mansell Street in San Francisco, and the map data suggests that this is a 2-lane road. I think perhaps it used to be a 2-lane road and they converted it to 1 lane with a bike lane and a parking lane, but I'm not sure about that. So it used to be before version 10.11, the car would constantly try to get into what it thought was the right lane, where there actually isn't a lane, and so it would constantly change into the bike lane and struggle significantly. So while this video looks boring and uninteresting, it's actually really exciting for me because I've driven through this area many times and had lots of problems testing on Mansell Street. So the one place we still have an issue is when we get to the tops of these steep hills and the car can't see over. And then it does try to change, but as soon as it comes over the top of the hill, it realizes there's no lane there. So this is a huge improvement from the previous behavior. Okay, and this is now going uphill on Mansell Street, and it's having a bit of a hard time getting out of its perceived lane there, but once it does, it has no problem from there on forward. And I know this doesn't look like much, guys, but for me this is mind-blowing. It really is. I can't overstate like how impactful this change is for me. and you see no problems whatsoever. So here's a video from November 5th I dug up on Mansell Street. This should be version 10.3.1. And you see the problem I was describing there, where it's trying to go into a different lane. I'm going to pause it and draw your attention to the visualization. You see here where my cursor is, it shows there's 2 lanes, and since the right lane is bolded, that means that the system thinks it should be in the right lane. So that's why I think the problem is map data related. Okay, and this is Mission Street in San Francisco. In this case, similar to the last one, the lane on the right-hand side is a bus lane only, and the system really wants to get into that right lane because we have to turn right further ahead. So this is an area that I drive personally very often in San Francisco and use FSD beta, and I've always had significant problems. I've never recorded in this area just because it would be problematic for videos. And the thing you'll notice here, as soon as the bus lane ends, the car immediately moves over to the right. You see here now it wants to move over to the right. So you kind of have to take my word for it that I've had tons of issues there, but again, this is a huge improvement for me and it is seriously mind-blowing. I know it doesn't look like much, but it's a big, big deal. So this is the 4th area, and in this case we're trying to turn left, and it's a confusing area that the system has a problem with. And unfortunately it's no better in this case. So I think that perhaps this actually isn't a map data and it's actually just visually very difficult for the system. So take a look at this second attempt. This time I manipulate the visualization and make it easier to see exactly what's going on. So you can see the car can't decide which side of the median to turn on. So there's been no improvement on this one turn based on the new lane predictor system. Alright, and that's all I've got for you today, guys. I think this is a really huge, impactful change, and I think it paves the way for future big improvements. It's a sort of change that both improves efficiency of the system and also makes it better in a lot of ways. So I'm really excited, really surprised to see this, and I'm really glad to share it with you today. And I hope you enjoyed and I hope you learned something. Leave me a comment and I'll see you next time. Cheers.